For some reason, that last video cut out as soon as I did that first question, so this is going to be in two different videos. So for here, some of you guys seem to have trouble with this. So what I would suggest you do is just redraw these two triangles separately. So the first one I'm going to draw is this FTE. All right, so I have F, I have T, and I have E. Then I'm going to redraw the bigger triangles separately. So that gives me TRS. Right? By doing this, you can see a little bit clearer as to what corresponds with which, or what corresponds with what. All right, so now if I fill this in, if this whole thing is 49 and this is 7, that means FT must be 42 because these two have to add up to 49. This is 72 and this is 54. Then I fill in the rest. RT, they tell me, is 49. RS is 84. And TS is 63. Right, now we need to show, because they don't tell us anything about the angles. They don't say that these are parallel, so we can't go ahead and use anything about corresponding angles or anything like that. So we can only do the sides here. Right, now when I go to do this, this is the smallest side of this triangle. So if it's going to correspond to any of the sides in this triangle, it will also have to be the smallest side. So I can then create FT, my ratio, over RT. Well, then this is going to be equal to 42 over 49, which is going to reduce to 6 over 7. All right, so then when I look at the next one, 54, that is the second largest, so that needs to correspond to the second largest if they're going to be similar. So that means TE will have to correspond to TS. And then TE is 54 over 63. Well, 9 goes into both, so it reduces to 6 over 7. And then our last one, 72 and 84, they are both the largest of both triangles, so they would have to also correspond. So if you're not sure which ones correspond, you can also use that over RS. All right, just make sure that you are constantly going in the same triangle to the other. You can't flip your ratios. And this is going to be 72 over 84. Well, 12 goes into both of these. 6 over 7 is our final similarity ratio. So they are all equal to each other. So every single one of these is equal. So that means that these triangles are similar. So it would be yes, all sides are proportional. That's what you would have to write in your test. And then to finish this off, triangle, so TSR. So TSR, so we went through the medium one, the middle one, to the largest. So we had to go through the middle to the largest. So it will then be triangle TEF. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, so the next two, I picked two different examples, so that way I can show you one of each. So sometimes you may have to read the similarity statement in order to answer. All right, so when I look, we want to solve for this side here, GF. So I need to look and say, well, what side does GF correspond to? So I'm going to go from this bottom triangle to the top every time. Well, GF is the last two letters, so it corresponds to DE. So I know those two have to be the same. All right, then I'm going to say the other ratio. Well, this is the other side that I have for right now. So I'm going to write CG, and I'll see which one that corresponds with. So CG, that corresponds to CD. All right, so I know that my ratios will be equal, and now let me substitute. So GF, we didn't know, so I'll just label an X. DE, we said was equal to 112. CG is equal to 65, and CD is equal to 182. Right? If something happened where you still got some unknowns, then you can maybe have to solve for one of the other missing sides in order for you to do this. But we have everything that we need. All right, and now we just need to go ahead and cross multiply and solve. So then we will cross multiply. So then we would get 182x is equal to 65 times 112, which is equal to 7,280. Divide each side, 182x, divide each side by 182. And that gives us our final answer of x is equal to 40. All right, there are no units, so you don't have to write any units with this. All right, that is your final answer. Let's move on to the next question. All right, here I purposely picked this one because although the last time I told you to read your, in order for me to, I told you to read your similarity statement. Here, you don't read the similarity statement because there's not one there, but this side would have to correspond with this side because they're creating the same part of the triangle. So even though there's no similarity statement provided for you, sorry about that, even though there's no similarity statement provided for you, it must be that FT is similar to FD because they are both part of this side of our triangle. And if these are going to be similar, then these would have to be parallel, which then means these angles would have to be equal as well. All right, so it's guaranteed that they would have to be similar to each other. So then what we could do is figure out FS. So we did FT over FD. And then we need to include FS because that's what we're trying to solve for. So FS over top of FE. Right, you could have used TS since we know that that's 12, or DE since we know that is 16. It's your call. Right, so FT is 24 and FD is 32. FS we don't know, but it's 7x, and FE is 28. Right, we would then cross multiply. So then we get 32 times 7, and that is going to give me 224x. And then we would do 24 times 28, so that's 672. Divide each side by 224. And that will give us x is equal to 3. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, I picked this one to go through because part of what you need to do tomorrow is be able to draw and fully level and sketch the situation. All right, and I went through, there's different ways you can draw this for me. But you just need to make sure that you are showing me. So here, Raphael is standing, and he has this shadow that's 264 meters long. So I can go ahead and draw this person, Raphael, and here is his shadow. All right, so I know his shadow is 264 meters long. All right, and it says at the same time that as a shadow cast by vertical long ruler, so if we put a ruler in the ground and it's 30 centimeters long, so here's our ruler. It's 30 centimeters long, and tells us that its shadow is 45 centimeters long, and it says draw and fully sketch. So here's Raphael's height, and this is what we do not know. All right, so this is his height. Let me put arms on him. This is his height. And this is our unknown, so find Raphael's height. Well, we know that these two are going to be similar triangles because they will both be perpendicular to the ground. And then the shadow, the ray of the shadow will be the same for both, so it's going to be equal here as well. So now we can go ahead and create Raphael's height, the unknown. So we're going to solve this over here. X. I'm sorry, this was not 264 meters, but 264 centimeters. So it'll be X over top of 30, because that's the height of Raphael over the height of the ruler, is equal to the shadow of Raphael, 264, over the shadow of the ruler, 45. We will then cross multiply. So this will then give me 45x is equal to 264 times 30. So it's 7,920. Divide each side by 45. And that will give us that x is equal to 176 centimeters. All right, I know that this video is a little bit sloppy compared to the other ones I've done for you, but I guess I'm trying to rush through this too much, so I'll try to slow it down for the rest of this. All right, let's move on to the next question.